Coming to you live from an undisclosed location. Here is your host, the one and only Flint Rasmussen.
Welcome to another week and another episode of the award-winning show, According to Flint. We don't know what award, but somewhere there's an award, and we are an award-winning show. We have a trophy. We have two trophies, one more valuable than the other. Welcome to another week as we creep our way through September. PBR Team's events still going on after a big weekend in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where the Oklahoma Freedom come out on top. We'll talk a little bit about that, maybe a little more than that. Also joining me coming up after the break, our PBR production manager in the live event show for PBR Teams, Luke Kaufman, a guy who right now is serving as a production boss, but he is an announcer, a music director, a country music singer, overall good guy. We got to iron his clothes for him once in a while, and sometimes it looks like he combs his hair with the inside of a Lay's potato chip bag, as our friend Richard Jones would say, but a good dude. We're going to talk some live TV production on PBR Teams and some things maybe you can't see, didn't know, and the task we as a live event show have been given by our boss is to pull off for the live event show. And it's just getting better and better every week. So looking forward to talking to Luke, our good friend. Congratulations. As I said, the Oklahoma Freedom, Carolina, the home team in Winston-Salem. And I said this before, what we're seeing for people who I think watched the first two teams events on TV where we were all kind of getting our legs underneath it, getting our sea legs. Is that what they say? Something like that. I think now if you watch it on TV, you're starting to feel like it's a real competition. I talked to my dad on the phone the other day. For those of you who don't know, my dad, 84 years old and an old rodeo announcer. So, those of us that have been in the Western world for a long time, we come across sometimes as very critical because everything we see, we analyze and frankly, we judge it. And he told me the other day, he said, let me tell you something, that TV deal with the teams, it's getting fun now. The TV commentators are starting to really present it as a competition, and you're getting the feel of the rivalries and the feel of the home team advantage. Carolina Cowboys had that in Winston-Salem. Really, really great crowds there, energetic crowd. Richard Childress, the boss of the Carolina Cowboys, brought a lot of fans and a lot of family there. Interestingly, Carolina rode more bulls by 3 bulls than any other team over the weekend. Out of 16 attempts, they rode 10 bulls. That's a great riding percentage, but did not win the weekend in the teams competition. Our rodeo attitude, philosophy we've always had, and I know this is where a lot of people jump in. They're like, that's not fair. They rode way more bulls and they didn't win the competition. But it's about head-to-head matchups, and people will say rodeo or bull riding is not a team sport. They're really not competing against the team they're matched up with because 5 guys ride for this team, 5 guys ride for that team. Most rides win. There's really no feel of competition. I have been on the back of the chutes now doing some TV here and there, and we pick a side to stand on the back of the chutes. Believe me, they know what the other team's doing. And when the other team makes a big ride, you can feel the air go out of the balloon on that side. So if you don't think they know what the other team is doing and that competition between the teams comes out, you're wrong about that. So I'm starting to see that. But Oklahoma, out of nowhere, wins the weekend. And let me tell you who I think, according to Flint, see what I did there? This is who the star of the weekend was. You may not know him. You may not recognize him. He's adorable, and he's not 13 years old. That is one Briggs Madsen. His home state is Utah, comes from a great rodeo family, had a rodeo accident when he was about 15 years old, broke his back. They didn't know if he'd walk again. He has ridden like 5 bulls in a row for Oklahoma and has become one of their go-to guys. So congratulations, Briggs Madsen. The other big comeback this week, for the first time in 8 months, Cooper Davis, the world champion for the Carolina Cowboys, rode every bull 3 for 3, looked like the champ that he is. So congratulations to all those guys. Briggs Madsen coming through. He does ride a little bit like Jess Lockwood. Brandon Bates might have been right. Dang it, that pains me to say that. Hey, let's look at the team standings right now coming out of week number 6. Wow, 6 weeks into this sucker. Carolina Cowboys with the best record. Is that 10-8? Yeah, probably. Look at me. I'm so old I can't even see my own screen. Carolina, Austin, Arizona with all the same records. The reason one above the other, that's where the bonus round contributes to what the team standings are. Nashville Stampede, still a disappointing season for them. Texas Rattlers picked up some good rides, and some things went on for them that were good this weekend. So are there surprises? I loved Carolina at the start of the season, and they had some hiccups here and there, but I think they're the team to beat, still winning the year-end standings. Again, I like the MVP race, the guy that gets the $50,000 bonus at the end of the year. Hey, look over your shoulder alert for Jose Vitor Leme. It's a war of attrition. It's bull riding. So all it takes is a guy getting hurt and somebody can make a comeback. The reigning world champion, Dalen Swearingen, all of a sudden is within a few points of Jose Vitor Leme, who is out with a rib injury, a non-riding rib injury. I don't believe I'm at liberty to say what he did to do it. I don't think I'm allowed to. That's up to them whether they want to release that. He was not riding bulls and broke some ribs, out for a short time. Oh, I'm in trouble. Anyway, hey, listen, so there's your team standings. I'm in so much trouble. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. Luke Kaufman joining me. We're going to talk some TV, PBR production, but first, a quick word from our friends at Pendleton Whiskey.
Growing up, you wanted those older cowboys that you admired to someday call you a cowboy. Nobody can tell you you can't do that if you want to work at it hard enough. If money's super important, I'm doing the wrong thing, but I kind of got to pinch myself because I truly love what I do. It's amazing what you can accomplish if you don't care who gets the credit. Just make sure it gets taken care of.
Welcome back to another episode, another week. It's According to Flint right here, however you might be watching, whether it's on Pluto TV, on Ride Pass, or on social media. We're glad you're here. You know, heading into the team's event earlier this summer, we were told it was going to be presented differently than anybody had ever seen in the live arena and on TV. And one of the guys that was given that task joins us today. It's our old friend, the master of many things. See, notice I didn't say, jack of all trades, master of none. I said the master of many things. Jack of all trades, Luke Kaufman. Anyway, it's been sort of a challenge, correct?
It's made everybody in the PBR get outside of their comfort zone for sure. We like you put it so eloquently, we had to get out to what we normally have done for what you guys have done that have been there since the beginning for 29 years. And it is very different to say the least. And it's different in a good way. It exercises things that we don't normally get to do. Like you get to take on the television role, which I think, I'm not patting you on the back right off the gate here, right out of here, but you do a really good job at communicating and relaying things that other people don't see because you've been right there in front of the chutes for so long. It's been pretty cool to see everybody kind of switch roles and move around.
But, I remember Sean Gleason, our CEO, for those of you people who don't know, saying, I want when people turn on a team's event on TV, I want the commentators to be different, the look to be different, everything to be different, so they know it's not an Unleash the Beast tour event. And in the live arena, the same thing. We've kind of done that. The lighting, the sound, it's a real contemporary. Would contemporary look be the right way to say it? It's just different.
Yeah, it's so different. I mean, we invested a lot in the production side of it. If you walk in there, I mean, there's LED screens for days. The full arena is can be totally manipulated. We can do a full takeover. We can change the lighting. We have full sports lighting. Before we were kind of tied down to the lighting that was in the venue. Now we can make it look as bright or as dark as we want to, which is something we've never got to do before, and it adds a lot of cool stuff to it. It gives us a chance to do a lot of fun things when we have time.
When we have time. I don't know if people watching on TV understand. I called you our, what did I call him? Production director, production coordinator. Might have said you're kind of my boss in the arena. I don't know that people watching on TV understand what people are seeing in the live arena. It's kind of a hybrid. We take the TV commentators to the house, and then we take Clint Atkins, who steps up and does some live announcing. He's done a great job, by the way. That's why once in a while I'm in the arena, once in a while I'm not. From your part of it, you're the one calling that transition of what people are hearing from day one till week number 6. We're kind of figuring that crap out a little bit, aren't we? It's a tough job, though.
We're getting there. Yeah. I mean, it's Sean's goal, PBR's goal is to take the best parts of TV and let the live audience see it, and let the best parts of the live be seen through TV. And we're doing that. TV for the first time is taking stuff in the middle of the show. Like we're throwing to you, you're in the arena doing a bid or interacting with the crowd, and we take that to TV, because for years it was always the joke, like, how much TV time does Flint get? Even though you're right there in the middle, but you're actually, we're going straight to you, and vice versa. We're taking all the opening segments, all the cool feature content, which is the coolest stuff, in my opinion, that TV does, not lowering what they do throughout the entire bull riding, but all those segment pieces, all the in-depth behind the scenes stuff, that's what's really cool. And I think we can't push that out to the fans enough. And I think we're, like you said, we're 6 weeks in, we're figuring it out. I say by Vegas, we'll have it nailed, and then we'll go back to doing it the UTB way.
Yeah. Hey, wait a second. So what you're telling me is we're going to do a regular season too? Please tell the people. That's our running joke. It's our, man, here's what, I'm going to be opinionated for a minute, but my name's on the sign, so I can do whatever I want. It's amazing that people take the time and effort to make a social media comment negatively, but don't take the time and effort while they're at their computer to look on the PBR website and say that there is a scheduled Unleash the Beast regular season tour. Just like always, this is the fall. It's a 10-week deal, and then it's back to crown a world champion, right? Amazing.
It's 2 weeks after Vegas. It's 2 weeks after the team's final. We start right back up with UTV, and I'm with you. We could have the argument all day long, but at the end of the day, it's bull riding, and it's the best guys in the world getting on the best bulls, and it's a new concept. It's a new version of it. It's everybody loved the Global Cup. Everybody loved the Iron Cowboy, the Last Man Standing, all those cool little tweaks, but now that we've made a whole separate season for it, there's some knee-jerk reaction to it, but it's still PBR, it's still bull riding, and we've done it uniquely, our own way, just like we did when we started 30 years ago, I think. And yeah, when we come back Thanksgiving weekend in Tucson, Arizona, I think everybody's going to see we're still doing what we've always, with that tour. We've added more bull riding. It's more bull riding, and it's more money for the riders, which is,
yeah.
I mean, that's the end goal, I think.
You do a lot of things. By the way, your music, to sit in the lobby, for people who don't know, to sit in a lobby of a hotel with Luke Kaufman and a guitar it's a cultural experience. Luke, you know the words to a lot of songs. And if you don't know them, our friend Richard Jones will make them up and sing them really loud. So that's a relief that you have that behind you. But explain your role. You're wearing a shirt, Ultimate Bullfighters. I'm wearing an According to Flint shirt, by the way. I'll get you one. What is your role with Ultimate Bullfighters, UBF, as it would be?
General manager / part shareholder. UBF was basically, it was a concept that I came up with in 2008. It was kind of after the Wrangler bullfights had disappeared at the early part of 2001. For 5 or 6 years, there wasn't anywhere for bullfighters to go and, display the freestyle part of it. And I mean, freestyle was pretty prominent in Western sports rodeo. I'm from North Carolina. I was on the East, and we had a lot of bullfighters that did dabble into it and get into it, and that avenue just wasn't there. So myself and another guy, we kind of created that. It's been 15 years ago now. We ran it for 3 or 4 years. That was where I first met Cody Webster. He was 15 years old. Had to go pick him up at the Greensboro airport and take him to his first bullfight. I got the inside tip from Frank Newsom. He said, "There's this stringy little kid by the house. I keep trying to kill him off, but he keeps coming back. So see how he does." And he comes to this bullfight, 15 years old, and he wins the event. And that was my first of many interactions with Webster, and a lot of other guys. I mean, the guys that are now the top guys in bullfighting, protection, or freestyle. A few years later, that we kind of did that for 3 or 4 years. It's a lot different, as you know. It's not, the culture is not as strong on the East Coast, so we didn't really have avenues to keep it going. So we kind of just shuttered it up. I started kind of full-time announcing with PBR and doing a lot of other things. Then I got involved with Bullfighters Only, worked with them for 4 or 5 years. And then amidst COVID, we had the opportunity to kind of bring UBF up. So we've kind of been going since the early part of 2020 again. And it's been fun. I mean, bullfighting's always been a passion of mine. I've always loved it. And I think those guys need and deserve the platform, similar to what bull riders have in the PBR and what, rodeo have in PRCA. I think that it'll be just a matter of time before those guys are making the money that they deserve to be making. Because it's one thing to nod for a bull for 8 seconds. It's another thing to call for a bull and you have to stand in the ring for 60 seconds without getting run over. If you get bucked off a bull, yes, it hurts. It doesn't feel good. But if you don't do good in bullfighting, you get ran over. Plain and simple, mostly.
Yeah. It is definitely a different culture for sure. So, well, listen, Luke, you are doing a fine job. Keep up the hard work. Keep us in line. You have done that so far through the first few weeks of this team competition, and we appreciate your hard work. Real quick, in a few seconds, you're not going this weekend. You have another commitment, correct? Not going to Oklahoma City.
Yeah. Won't be in OKC, but I'll be at Ridgedale, Missouri.
Okay. Listen, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you.
We'll be right back. More According to Flint, and wrap it up right after this.
As rural Americans, we have a unique understanding of and connection to the land. Whether we ranch, farm, log, or simply recreate, what we do today determines our tomorrow. As stewards of the land, it's our duty to ensure that our children and grandchildren can enjoy the outdoors in a similar manner that was afforded us. Join the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation and ensure the future of elk, other wildlife, their habitat, and our hunting heritage. Visit rmef.org today.
I said it last week. It's archery season in Montana, elk season. Has anybody in this studio currently harvested an elk? Nope. David, the guy that owns this place, no elk yet. But Garrison, brother to Logan, did. I'll say it. You harvest corn, you harvest wheat, you kill an elk. Let's just be real here. So it's elk season. Thanks to Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, as always. Hey, join me as you're watching this on Wednesday evening. Join me this Thursday, my latest podcast, A True According to Flint podcast. I did it to myself. I opened up to questions and comments, and I will address a lot of that and give some opinions on a lot of things, PBR, rodeo, whatever we choose from the fans. So it's According to Flint. That is available tomorrow, Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. So check that out. We will post the links on my social media. Easy click of a button. Before we go too far, PBR this week lost another one of our bull riders. Ouncy Mitchell, the man we knew as Ouncy Mitchell, passed away this week. Never knew Ouncy really well. I knew him well enough to know he was a really good guy. So thinking of all his family, of course, we know his cousin Ezekiel Mitchell, one of the more popular bull riders in the PBR. And hey, remember when something like that happens, I don't know if this applies, but when people say, hey, sending prayers, if you're sending prayers, you send you actually send prayers. Those aren't just words where you say, hey, sending prayers. You do that. Those are powerful things to say. So send prayers that way. This week of September, in my mind, I'll use this analogy. It took me a long time after I went to however many years of school, then was a school teacher and a coach, to get out of the mode where around Labor Day, it was time for school to start. And still to this day, it feels like I should be going to school. There's one other event that happens this week in September where I just feel like I should be there. I am no longer there. PBR doesn't have an affiliation. I used to work the rodeo. The most unique week, in my opinion, the most unique week in all of Western sports is at the Pendleton Roundup in the most unique and greatest Western sports facility. As we look at the aerial view, yes, there are two facilities. Happy Canyon, where the bull riding happened earlier, used to be a PBR, the Extreme Bulls Finals, happens in that little tiny arena, the home of, well, as the week gets going, the home of the Happy Canyon Western Night Show. It's a nightly show. Seats about 4,000 in that very steep grandstand right there. That's Happy Canyon, and off in the distance, that is the Pendleton Roundup Arena, the world famous grass arena of the Pendleton Roundup. There is no other rodeo I can go to where in my years of working the Pendleton Roundup, I can say that I spent a lot of time sitting in the grass in the middle of the rodeo, different racehorses, Indian relay races, and I have no idea what year this picture was taken, probably around 2004, 2005, watching an Indian relay race from the grass where the rodeo actually happens. I said it's one of the most unique, probably the most unique rodeo and Western event in all of the world. I know that every year when we talk about 9/11, I know where I was on 9/11, and I know 9/11 happened on a Tuesday morning because we had done the Monday night PBR in Happy Canyon at Pendleton, Oregon. The next morning, I'm in a hotel room, and I had a connecting room with bullfighter Joe Bumgardner, one of my best friends. And I woke up to him talking on his phone, because when he talked on his phone, he talked really loud and said the F word a lot. And through the door, I could hear Joe Bumgardner say to somebody, are you, in not so many words, are you watching this stuff on TV? This is crazy. And I turned on the TV out in West Coast time, and I turned on the TV right as the second plane hit the second tower. In Pendleton Roundup, Oxford Suites, end of the hall, I remember exactly where I was. We had the bull riding that night. We had the rodeo the rest of the week. And our philosophy was, we're not going to lose here. We're going to keep going. Because of that, it took me a few years to really the impact. It took me looking back on it and seeing news bits about it to go, that was really, it took me a while to figure out how awful and influential it really was, because I was focused in on being in a place and navigating through and doing the job we were there to do for the next 5 days. So that took a while. And so I remember that's one thing that Pendleton Roundup, where the memory comes from. My very last performance in the big arena on the grass at the Pendleton Roundup, sang my Pendleton Roundup song for the last time. The famous line, the day terror came out of the sky, the whole world cried. But I was at that Pendleton Roundup, and all we did was say, hey, let her buck. That's the famous line from the song. Anyway, Pendleton Roundup. Thanks to our friends at Pendleton Whiskey. We're at the Pendleton Roundup. They drink it by the truckload, and they're having fun as we speak right now. Thanks for joining me, everybody. No show next week. Busy. No Pluto show. We'll see you soon. We'll see you in Oklahoma City. Thanks for joining me.